to the IMSK's web series. And here we go. Today we have our two wonderful folks. One is Anton and another one is Valeria. The both folks are more enthusiastic and wonderful folks, which I have been seeing in few last few months. And they are from DevGAMM Game Conference team. And of course, there are a lot of wonderful folks right at the back. He is going to come up. You will be able to chance to meet them. And today they're going to walk us through about a very interesting awards, which is DevGAMM Awards, which is going to happen in Portugal. And I would leave Mr. Anton to take forward. Over to you, Anton.
Thank you so much, AJ. First of all, it's such an honor to be here with you guys. Such a pleasure. And thank you so much, AJ, for inviting me and my colleague Valeria for this quick webinar. So our main goal is basically to introduce you guys to the DevGAMM Game Conference and the DevGAMM Awards. It's basically what we do. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Anton. I'm a head of marketing at DevGAMM. I've been working with the company for 5 long years. And here you can see my beautiful colleague Valeria. She's a developer relations coordinator. She's overseeing all the game activities. So she basically knows a lot about game developers and all the games that are either applying or exist in the market. We do not know yet a lot about Indian game development industry, but we for sure are very interested in what you guys have there, and we are excited to introduce you to DevGAMM for that reason and maybe find some connections that we have. So I'm going to start with the introduction of the conference in general. Then I will move to the DevGAMM in Portugal and our upcoming conference there and all the game projects that we have there. And of course, then I will move to the final and most exciting and most relevant, I guess, part, which is the DevGAMM Awards competition, a game developers competition for indie and AA games and studios. And I guess you can find a lot of opportunities there. So feel free to ask your questions at any time. You can, I guess you can write them down in the chat, in the YouTube, I believe so. And also we will have a Q&A session afterwards, and myself and Valeria will be very, very happy to answer to all of your questions and introduce you guys to the DevGAMM, to the world of DevGAMM, and invite you to our conferences. So without further ado, let me move on to the DevGAMM Portugal 2025, which we see here on the screen. But before that, what is DevGAMM in general? Well, that's a well-established brand, I'd say, on the European continent at the moment. We do B2B conferences for game industry professionals. This is our team on the slide, not all of them, but yeah, it's a very small, nice and cozy team. You can see myself and Valeria here as well, all wearing same t-shirts. That's because we are such a close, cohesive team. We work all from different parts of the world, and our conferences are the only places where we actually meet each other. So this is very exciting for the team as well. So we've been doing our events since 2008. Can you believe this? It's more than 17 years already. We've started in Ukraine, and then we moved to the CIS or post-Soviet market. And then in 2022, we entered the European market. Well, actually, we entered it even earlier, but now we operate on the in the European Union mostly, which are Poland, Portugal, Lithuania are the countries of where we've been doing our events most in the past several years. And this year, of course, in 2025, we've already done our first conference of the year in Poland, and now we're getting ready for the next one in Portugal. But basically, we're open to the game developers and game industry professionals from all over the world. And we're calling ourselves a B2B conference because this is a business to business. It's not a global large convention such as GDC or Gamescom. These are the conferences to establish your contacts, to expand your networking and find yourself some new partners. But our event is much more, it is much smaller, I guess. I mean, the scope of it, but it's about the meaningful conversations and the meaningful connections. So you can show your game to the publishers, you can actually meet the game industry legends who are our speakers or invited guests. You can join for a drink even with your legends, the people who you admire, or the legendary game creators, because this is all about meaningful and very I'd say smart and wise conversations to actually dedicate your time to. As I mentioned, 17 years we are in business, so we are quite experienced team and we know how to organize, how to run our events. All in all, we've done more than 50 events over those 17 years in different parts of Europe and even in the USA. Our peak attendance was 2,500 attendees. This was in 2019. Then, since we shifted to another markets, we kind of saw the surge in those attendance. So nowadays, our events gather up to 1,000 attendees, which is not that large scope as, let's say, Gamescom. But of course, it's all about, as I mentioned, meaningful connections, and that's why we allow people to actually have those meaningful conversations and establish your networking there. We've been in 9 countries yet, because we are planning something more. We have always new locations in mind, and different game communities, game developers communities invite us to come over to their country and to bring DevGAMM there, because this is such a great place to meet people from all over the world and to gather international audiences. And of course, local communities are very, very interested in it. That's what we saw in Portugal, and that's why we do our events there for the 3rd year in 2025, because we saw the potential, we saw the interest from the local game devs, and they are quite interested in growing their industry there. And that's why bringing folks from the USA, from Europe, from Asia is very, very important to them, so that people can see what their market has to offer. And of course, they can meet lots of international people as well. And the last one is endless emotions. And this is, I don't know why, but it just happens so that we have this unique approach, again, about meaningful conversations and connections, but it's also about art, because we do our events very, very carefully. We know what game developers want, we know what publishers want, and we try to establish and organize our events specifically for them, so they all feel comfy, so that they can feel that other people at the conference are easy to reach, and they are very confident that they will have their final results and at the end of the conference, and also to have something memorable, something unforgettable, some great connections, some great, I don't know, parties even. And it's like the most I'd say, nice part from the organizer's perspective, where people thank you so much after the event is done that they enjoyed it. So maybe once you visit us and once you join our event, you will feel, because this is something that you actually feel in person when you come to DevGAMM. But still, we've got a lot of things to offer, and here's what we're doing right now at the moment. We are in the middle of production for our next event, and it's a huge one. We've never done a 2-part event. This is called a DevGAMM Portugal. Our usual events are called something like DevGAMM Warsaw or DevGAMM Lisbon. I mean, they're named after the city where we're based on, where we bring our conferences to. But this one is called DevGAMM Portugal because this is actually a 2-part event. We've never done it before, and we're doing this and very excited to do this for the first time. It's a 2-part combining Madeira Games Summit and, again, Lisbon Conference. With the Lisbon Conference, it's the 3rd time there, and it's quite a well-established location for us. But the Madeira Game Summit is something that we're excited to do for the first time. It's a small private gathering for high-level folks, game industry professionals, who are coming to this beautiful island of Madeira to have some casual conversations and networking, private side events. Very important one. We'll see how it goes. But the most important one and the largest one is, of course, Lisbon Conference. This is happening on November 6th and 7th. We are excited to bring there up to 1,000 attendees from game industry. the business leaders, game developers, of course, speakers who are very curated and very it takes such a tedious job to find those speakers because we always want to give to the audiences the content that they actually need. I'm going to move on to the next slide so that you know the parts of which our events consist of. As I mentioned, content is the key. We have a dedicated person who oversees all the lectures, all the panel discussions, all the Q&A sessions that we do at our events. And we usually do, it's a 2-day event, as I mentioned, November 6th and 7th. And since it's a 2-day event, we have a very limited number of slots for speakers to actually introduce their topics to the audiences. And that's why we have 4 in parallel halls which welcome and host all those sessions so that they can run simultaneously. And of course, as an audience member, you've got to choose which one you've got to attend. But of course, they are separated by the track, by the topic of the session. Game design, marketing, publishing, postmortems, audio, art. Whatever you specialize in, you will find something to your personal taste, something that you are interested in. And most importantly, after that talk, we always run Q&A sessions with the speakers. Because if you have any questions to the speakers, to the game industry legends who come to the event, you should have an opportunity to ask them personally of what interests you the most, because they might not necessarily answer to your question during the talk. But even after the talk, they're all available to talk to you. Like, you can mingle with them, and we can see those crowds of people circling around the speakers of the event after their talk is done, so that they can talk more and more and to discuss some relevant problems with them. So our events has been visited by so many wonderful folks. Warren Spector, the legendary creator of Deus Ex, people from Tap Nation, Outfit 7, Tiny Builds. Last year we were visited by the legendary John Romero, the creator of the Doom. And it was a large session and a Q&A session, autograph session afterwards. It was like an entire day dedicated to him, such a legend. And of course, this year we're cooking up something even more exciting. The next pillar of the event is B2B networking. As I mentioned, it's a business-to-business event. So that's why people should have an opportunity to meet with other people. And we are powered by the Meet to Match, a very well-established international platform that many events use to schedule meetings. It's a very convenient one. You basically, with your tickets, you get your app. You have access to the app where you can scroll through the list of attendees, find the necessary people. You can use the filters and find the people that you're most interested in, where they specialize, and maybe which companies they represent, and you can schedule your meetings at the conference using that app. Apart from that, we also have specially dedicated networking activities, and I'm gonna address those activities specifically designed for the game developers in a second. But I'd say that to me, parties, and we have several of them, parties is always a deal breaker, because you can meet people in their natural habitats, like sipping a drink, even dancing to some DJ music. We do that as well. And you can find them and casually connect to them. People you have never met maybe, but they're so easy to connect. That's what I love about the gaming industry, that people are so easy to go, easygoing. Maybe apart from that guy who's crossing his hands over here. But it's all right, because you see on the next picture, the game developers, it's you guys. This is the beating heart of any conference. Game developers who bring their new creations, who showcase their games, and who are very interested in finding new ways of cooperating with publishers, with investors who come to the conferences, with different services, because you never know which kind of service provider you can find, and maybe you specifically need that to your conference. And of course, with platforms, because we've got Epic Games, we've got who run Unreal Engine, we've got people from Unity, people from PlayStation, from Nintendo. They come to the conference and they are, again, easy to connect with. And if you have any questions or any suggestions to them, you can find them and talk to them. And I will get back to the game activities in just a second. I just wanted to pay attention that we also have some VIP activities, because Portugal is such a relaxed setting, and this is a special tier of tickets that we introduce to our attendees. And basically with that ticket, you get access to some private casual networking events happening alongside the conference, where you can join your peers and, again, have some casual conversations with them. So, as I told you, our conferences throughout the years are attended by hundreds, thousands of game dev professionals representing all sorts of companies. And all of that amazing companies that you can see on the screen right now. I mean, I hope you can see, because I can't see you guys, but they're there. And these companies are there at DevGAMM as well. We're just so happy to host those companies, because sometimes they do special sponsored activities at the conference. I mean, they're interested to hire people, or maybe to showcase their newest projects, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they are just interested to explore new opportunities, maybe to find new businesses or new game teams, game development teams to connect with. So that's maybe the strongest part. It's about, I mean, I'm talking about the meaningful connections throughout my presentation, but that's the most important part, because these companies come in person. It's not like you can connect with them online. I mean, you can, and you can even pitch something to those companies online if you're lucky, but it's not compared to what happens there in person, because people come, and if they come to the conference, they already have this attitude that they want to connect, and they're open to those connections. I mean, again, I mentioned that I joined DevGAMM in 5 years ago, and this was 2020. And this was a very, it wasn't the best year for the events. We were forced, as all of our colleagues, to move online, because in-person conferences and events were not possible back then. And we moved our events online, which was a successful case to us. But again, when I saw the first one, which happened in 2021, when COVID restrictions were a bit lower, we were doing our first event after the COVID in-person event. I saw the beauty of it, the beauty of connections, the beauty of networking. It all happens in person, and you've got the chance to connect to those wonderful folks of the gaming industry. And that's just the beauty of it. That's the main pillar, I guess, of the event. So yeah, of course, this year we're happy to have those and even more companies to the DevGAMM as well. We had our first conference of the year in Poland. A lot of folks joined, and it was our biggest one in Poland to the date. So hopefully the Portuguese one will grow too. And as I mentioned, here are just some of the speakers who join us. They also represent great companies, but they also have the great experience of working in the gaming industry. I mean, Ilari Kvitinen from Housemarque, Jakub Dvorsky from Amanita Design, Jonathan Blow, they all stand behind the legendary games who were there in the market for such a long time, so they can help you out with just a piece of advice. Sometimes is enough to help you grow your game, and to inspire you even for something new. So yeah, this is just a taste of it, and we've got such a great team which makes up the schedule of those events. One of the most interesting parts about the content at DevGAMM happened actually, I believe it was last year. As I told you before, we've got several halls which host the sessions, the talks from those speakers simultaneously. But we've decided to introduce one of those halls, and to a special new format. We transformed it into a workshop room. Basically, it's the same lecture from the speaker, but it's a smaller one. So the audience comes by registration, and they always bring their laptops because this is a workshop by a famous game industry person where you can actually learn some practical advice. So these are hands-on workshop, and people, they actually have their talks based on their practical experience. So these were in the last and this year some beautifully organized workshops by again experienced speakers. I remember joining one by the audio designer. His name is Rob Carr. He brought a bunch of vegetables, and he actually showed how those vegetables can produce the sounds which are then used in the games, like the snow or some machines which can be done by a cabbage or a carrots even. I don't know, it sounds insane, but it looked so wonderful, and that's the stuff that you can only learn in person. And we do post some videos from the workshops and talks online, so they are available on demand on our YouTube channel, but only a small portion of it, because the rest of it remains there at DevGAMM, and it's exclusive for the in-person attendees, because this is the value that you can get from the conference if you come to the conference in person. And as I mentioned, networking and parties, again, one of the most crucial pillars there at the event. We are interested in people finding their new connections and establishing their networking and expanding their networking at our event. So then, of course, as you can see, more than 1,000 meetings were scheduled at DevGAMM in Lisbon last year at the last year conference in November 2024, which is an insane number. But it happened, and people have such great results and connections because of that activity, because of this special area that we have at the conference, which is dedicated specifically to those meetings. As you can see, it looks basically like this. It's a small table with a number, because via that app you get a designated table where you can meet your meeting partner, and we have like a bunch of those, up to 30 maybe, and basically you go there and you have your 30-minute slot to meet a person there and to connect. And of course, as I mentioned, we also have this activities, like more of a casual ones, where you can grab a bottle of beer and just casually connect with people. This is more for extroverts, I believe, but we try to help every single attendee. So last year we even did some small game at the conference, like you were getting a small piece of paper with like a conversation starter, so that you could use to begin your conversation, to run that small talk with some stranger, and you never know who is that person that you're gonna meet these or that time at DevGAMM. I'm slowly moving to the most important part. Brace yourselves. I know it's taken some time, but I'm moving on to the most important part, to the parts that you are interested in. And as people see, thumbs up. Just one guy's shown some thumb down. Games Hub. Basically, as I mentioned, game developers are the beating heart of any of our conferences. That's why we're trying to come up with so many new or well-established game activities dedicated specifically for the game developers. Because as you might know, game developers, of course, you have guys like different reasons to visit the conference, because sometimes you want to pitch your game, sometimes you want to play test it, some are looking for publishers, some are looking for investors, for new connections with platforms. And we do have all of that because, we have those special activities dedicated to you. And as you can see, these are just 6 logos of publishers who visited DevGAMM last year in Lisbon. But of course, that number is much, much higher. And we have such a great number of publishers who actually have been with us for such a long time, and they still continue to come. Especially, we have a long-term partnerships with TinyBuild, because they have signed lots of games off the conference that they just met there, that these publishers there, game developers there, and now they have those games in their portfolio. Of those games they met at DevGAMM. This is like real magic happening there. The first connection being established there. Of course, it takes some time to move on to the something real, but once the game is signed and it's being embraced by the Tiny Build team, to us it feels like a graduation. Like that game came to us, showcased there, and now look at them, how they've grown. They moved to a real world. Here are the activities that we've been running for several years really at DevGAMM, and I do have some dedicated slides to each of them, so let's move on to them. Yep, this is the first one. I'm going to take a sip of water. This is the most recent one, really, that we've introduced to DevGAMM. This is called Engage, with an exclamation mark, because this is a dedicated space to connect to publishers and investors. And this is an important one because we bring those publishers and investors who are really interested in connecting, because sometimes they're not interested in like you pitching their games to them because they have enough in their portfolio, or maybe they're not looking for new games at the moment. This happens as well, but not at this activity, because at this one, we have a dedicated area at the conference with some publishers and investors being there present, and they're waiting for you to come to them with your laptop or an iPad or something to show your game, to pitch your game to them. And if they're interested, they might as well, as I mentioned with Tiny Build, embrace you to their portfolio, or I don't know, maybe even give you some very, very necessary advice, bit of advice that you can help with developing your game. So yeah, that's a special dedicated activity. Of course, you can meet those publishers and investors everywhere at the venue because they're running here and there at the conference. But why bother? Because this is a dedicated activity and they're there for you. But if you still want for them to come to you and to see your game in action, we do have a game showcase. Valeria here is responsible for this one, and she's will be very happy to welcome you to the game showcase. It's a special activity run at both days. Basically, this is like an expo part of the conference where we've got like a up to 20, up to 30 even computers and laptops being there, and dedicated spaces for each of the game teams to present their games. Basically, you invite people, event attendees, again publishers, to play your game, to show them what you have up until that point, so that I don't know, you can collect feedback, or you can pitch your game to those publishers as well. And people are so interested in finding out new games, especially with the Indian market. We don't know much about what you guys have there. I mean, we do have submissions from India, but not too many. And as AJ mentioned to us, you've got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure you've got a lot of questions after the presentation. We'll be just happy to see you there. Most crucial part, these games are different on both event days. So as I mentioned, November 6th and 7th, these are different games. So you only have one day to showcase your game, and game developers use their days to the full potential, because this is their time to shine. And yeah, as I mentioned, space is really limited to 30 teams. So we do provide those computers. They are there for you. Basically, all you need to have is the ticket to the conference, and you've got to submit your game. We have a special submission form, which is open till September 17th for the Lisbon event. And if you are accepted, just get your ticket to the conference and feel free to submit your game. Valeria will take care of the rest. We also have a special stage activity. Here are some of the judges for this one. It's called a public pitch. That's basically something that we just, you know how pitches are. So basically, you've got your short presentation about your game and your team, and you tell the publishers what you actually need from them. It's the same one all the time, but we've decided to do a kind of a show, a staged show here, where you have a 5-minute slot to present your game to the panel of the jury, and they give you a feedback of whether they enjoyed your presentation or not. I know it's stressful, but it's your presentation put to the test. And of course, the entire audience gets to see it, because they are interested as well to first see your presentation, and then second, hear from the from the feedback of those experts, because they can learn from it as well. They can learn from your presentation, they can steal your tricks if you have them, and they can learn from the feedback from the jury, because we invite some professionals who see these kind of pitches maybe all day. Maybe these are publishers whose job is it to to test those pitches, to see them daily, and to scout some new games. So to them, this is also an interesting opportunity to see these games in action. And the winner of that, and we do have the winner, gets a free ticket to the next DevGAMM. So yeah, another great opportunity.
This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
Are we back? Yeah, I can hear you. Are we back? Are we live? Sure.
No, no, it is still live, I think. It is
We're
still
still
live.
live here. I can see us.
I can also see.
All right, so where did you guys lose me?
Yeah.
In which slide? Since I was not like hearing any feedback, you might have lost me on the first slides, and I kept going and going.
But we were in slide number, if I'm not wrong, public pitch. We in the particular slide of that. You can start from there, public pitch.
Sure. Can you see the presentation again? Is it live?
Particular slide of that. It is. Yep, we can see
So,
this.
should we move on?
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Cool. So I was just finishing with the public pitch, another of the game activities. And I'm just happy we had this break, really, because I'm like in the middle of the presentation, moving to the most important part. So I will have your attention, guys, really. Just before I finish off with the Steam event, this is also a very important part for what we do at DevGAMM. We know how important it is for the developers to have this exposure, and especially on Steam, since this is such a successful platform. So we organize our Steam event pages dedicated to each of the DevGAMM events. We invite our game developers who submit to the game showcase, to the public pitch, to the awards, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. And we put their games there. And sometimes, if Valve is kind enough, they feature our Steam page to some regions where the event is based. For instance, when we do our event in Poland, we are featured in 9 countries around the Baltic Sea. So imagine that kind of exposure that developers get by submitting their games to DevGAMM, then being featured on our Steam event page and being featured on the main page in 9 countries. It's kind of a big deal. So we are doing the same with Portuguese events as well. We'll see how it goes. But the Steam events page will be there. And you know who gets to be on Steam page? The DevGAMM Awards nominees. Finally, I'm moving on to the most important part. Oh, and this is such a great break that we had, because now I have your attention to the most, I guess, relevant part of the presentation for you, a DevGAMM Awards competition. What is that? This is a, as it says, competition for AA and indie game developers with free submissions and even without any necessity to go anywhere. You can do this from the comfort of your home. I mean, submit for the competition. So we've been doing this for quite a while. The DevGAMM Awards, like DevGAMM, is quite old. I guess, I don't know when the first one was really, but it's been a while. And only since last year, in 2024, we kind of reimagined the competition. We found a sponsor, a company called Score Warrior, a mobile publisher. They are very interested in continue to grow this spark of indie game development. And that's why it supports those indie game developers with a substantial amount of money. I mean, this year we have $100,000 prize pool for the winners of this competition, and also additional sponsors join. So they also do provide cash prizes. So at the moment, our total prize pool for this year's edition of the DevGAMM Awards competition is over $130K, which is no small feat. It's a big deal, kind of, and we're so happy that more and more developers join it. And I really urge you to join it. I will tell you in a moment a bit more about how this thing works, but please pay attention to this one, because it's such a great opportunity for all the indie game developers to shine. I know that sometimes I actually have, this past week, I've been interviewing the people who've won the DevGAMM Awards last year, and I asked them, why do you think game developers are not eager sometimes to join these kind of competitions? And they tell me that they might be shy, that they might be not sure that their game is needed or like is good enough to compete against other games that are in the markets in a substantial quantity. But I really urge you to do this, just because, first, you have this feedback from a lot of people who get to see your game. Second, you actually make your game seen by a bunch of people. And third, of course, you might win this great amount of money. Like here, those happy people have won $10,000 for excellence in narrative last year. So how this thing actually works? Criteria for games. All right, let's start with that. We do this competition only for the new games. So basically, it can be on any development stage except early prototypes. But basically, we just need a playable build for your game so that the judges of the competition can play it. Your game should not be released at the moment. Again, it can be on any development stage, but it cannot be released. Or it can be released, but not earlier than November 15, 2024. So basically, not earlier than a year ago, before the finale of the competition in November. And second big criteria, I'd say, is the team size. We only accept games which are being developed by the team of up to 50 people, not more than that. I guess that's calling an indie game an indie game in 2025 is rather tricky, because where is that definition ends? But we've decided that the team size up to 50 people makes this game made by a smaller team, and it can be called indie. We've got a lot of games made by solo developers or even teams of up to 5 people, consisting only of like a game designer, an audio guy, and I don't know, an artist, and that's it. That's the entire team, and they do all of that. And as for platforms, we accept PC and mobile. We even accept I don't know, even VR games, but they've got to be played. They have to have like a build played that can be played on PC, because our judges do not have VR helmets or AR helmets and equipment to see your game. So basically, a game should have a PC or mobile build. And as it says here, and as I mentioned before, we do invite all the nominees of the awards of the competition to join us in Lisbon, but exceptions can be made. I will tell you a little bit more about that later. So, coming back to the prize pool provided by that company called Score Warrior, our great sponsor, we're so grateful for them for choosing our competition to support. They provide a prize pool of 100K US dollars, which is split among the winners of 11 main categories. The main one is, of course, grand prize with the biggest amount of money. And then all the rest of the categories are separated by particular parts of your game. So we judge visual art, game design, audio, narrative. We judge innovation. This is a new category, so you've got to have something innovative in your game. We have a special category for the best mobile game. So last year, we've seen that 75% of the games submitted to the competition were made for PC or console, but we are open to the mobile game market, and I know it's a strong one in India, so we do invite you to join as well with your mobile games. If they're innovative and creative, we will be happy to see them. And of course, we have a most anticipated game. That's a special category for the games which are not released. And since the finale of the event takes place in Portugal, we do have a special category for games made there. They're unbelievable. You won't believe that the small Portuguese market have that kind of quality games. And of course, we have some categories, smaller ones, but they do matter still. They're called Community Vote and Developer's Choice. Well, Community Vote is kind of self-explanatory. This is where we are opening the voting to the public and to the community of to the communities of the games which are submitted to the competition. And Developer's Choice is the one where all the developers, all the development teams which are entering the competition vote for each other. So you have up to 4 votes to cast to the fellow game developers who are entering the competition. This is very interesting, and you will see on the timeline how this thing works. So these are 11 main categories. But apart from that, we also invite sponsors, other game companies, to join the competition and to provide their own prizes to more and more game development teams entering the competition. So that's why we have sponsored categories. And at the moment, for the 2025 edition, we have 3 sponsored categories, which are adding to the main ones. And they all combined have the prize pool of additional 30,000 US dollars, which is also so great. Plus, they have special services to provide. So, for instance, we're so excited to introduce the special category and the collaboration with the Epic Games Store. So, you know, this platform, and they're just developing their own platform to publish games to. And that's why we have this special category from the Epic Games Store. It's called Epic Games Store Indie Spotlight, and it provides, if you can see, it's like the biggest prize of the competition, a single one. It's 25K, and it's sold to the game which is published on the Epic Games Store. So do consider that platform as well, because it's quite a promising one. Not too many games are published there yet, but it's about to change. And of course, we do have also prizes from the Astrological Company to the best system and strategy in the game. And as I mentioned, Tiny Build, our long-term partner, they're excited to introduce a best indie game category with a 2K prize and special services. And special services is also an important one, because last year, the company Tiny Build also supported the competition, and the game team that have won this competition and this category, the game is called Blow Up. They received marketing consultations that allowed them to now combined have, they told me at the interview, but I don't remember, like 100 million views or even more on all the platforms. So this is like additional consultations that they run monthly now with Tiny Builds for free as a prize they got from the competition. And that helped the game a lot. So altogether, main categories and sponsored categories are all your chances to win. Each of the category gets 5 nominees, and these nominees are invited to the finale in Lisbon. Who are the judges, you might ask? We've got over 150 game industry professionals to judge all the games. So last year, we received over 500 game submissions. Well, we actually received more, but only 537, if I'm not mistaken, were eligible, so we accepted them to the competition. It's a large number, so that's why we invite a lot of juries, and they are all game industry professionals with more than a 5-year experience in the game industry. And they all judge the games, they all view all those 500 plus games within the 2 months. So last year, there were actually 100 people, and this year we are aiming at 150. We already have this 100, and more people are joining. These are both the events, the DevGAMM friends, or the newcomers who are coming to DevGAMM for the first time. And these are just 8 people from that large group of amazing professionals who will join us online, of course. They will judge and view all the games of the competition. Again, more than 500 submissions we accept this year as well. And this is a crazy number, but we have a great system of how we collect all the data and all the grades of how the game industry judges review those games. And that's how we determine first the nominees and then the winners of the competition. This is a competition timeline. So basically, the main date here, the main day here is September the 1st. So up until that day, you can submit your game via a unified submission form. It's a long one. We ask a lot of information from you, but I will tell you exactly why we need that. Because after September the 1st, the judges will have 2 months, and you can see here 3 judging rounds running from September 5th to November 1st, when the judges will review all the game submissions. And this is done in 3 rounds. The first one is the easiest one, I guess, but the longest one too, because the judges will review all the 500 plus game submissions, all the games, judging only by the videos, the gameplay and the trailers, and the info from your submission. That's why I'm telling you that the submission info is very, very important. You've got to pay attention. You've got to take your time. I don't know, maybe spend an hour. I guess that's enough to complete your submission form and have enough information for the judges to review your game. So again, at the first round, the game is only reviewed by the video, the gameplay video, the trailer, and the info from your submission. This is the information that the judges make their decision of whether your game is proceeding to the second round or not. And this is all around on the backstage, so you don't know if your game made it to the second round or not. Then the second round starts, and this is where the judges actually play those games. We've got each judge dedicated to like 20, 30 games to play, and they have to spend their time, a few weeks, to play each of the games carefully, to review them, and most importantly, we ask each of the judges to leave feedback. This is something very, very important that we hear from the game developers entering the competition. Since the game industry professionals are joining the competition, their opinion highly matters. So that's why we invite each and every one of them to get feedback to the game developers. And after the competition is done, if they have that feedback to your game, we will give it to you, whether your game proceeded to the second round or not. But if it did, it has higher chances to get feedback as well. Just again, because the judges have to play your games. And then on October 7, we've got the nominees, 5 on every single category, and we announce them publicly. So this is where you know if your game got to the second round and to the third round even. And if it does, we invite you as a nominee to join us in Lisbon. Of course, we can make some exceptions. For instance, I understand that a trip from India to Portugal can be a lengthy one and quite expensive one. So if you don't have that opportunity to come, we will ask you for 2 things. We will ask you first to record a special video for us so that we can run at the ceremony in Lisbon if your game wins. And second, you will have to have a representative, an in-person, a real person at the conference in Lisbon to represent your game and your team. It might be your friend, or we are partnering with the local game developer association that can assign a special person to accept the awards on your behalf and mail them back to you in India if you win, and that person can represent you. But of course, the best scenario for us and for the excitement of the ceremony is when you come to Lisbon and get these awards in person. So this is where the third round starts after the nominees are announced on October the 7th. Our judges determine the winners, and the winners are only announced at the award ceremony, which will happen at the very last day of the DevGAMM conference in Lisbon, which, as you remember, runs on November 6th and 7th, and the very last event of the very last day of the DevGAMM Awards of the DevGAMM Lisbon conference is the award ceremony. You say that I skipped the community vote and developer's choice. There is a month from September 5th to October 5th where we open that voting to the community and to the fellow developers, to you, to all of you who enter the competition. So the community vote is open to every person from the world, basically. So you can get just one vote per one email. So we use this special tool for this voting, and this is open to everyone. Basically, whichever game has the largest community wins. But of course, you can ask your friends, you can ask your family to cast their votes and use their emails to do that. We do not collect the data. I mean, it's just to obtain the rules so that one person gets one vote. Of course, you can have 20 emails or even more, but if we see that spike, we might even disqualify your game from the competition because we want it to be fair and square. So let's pretend it will not happen. We are running the competition smoothly. So yeah, this is happening within the month. And of course, on October the 7th, we also announced the winner and the runner-up, but we announced these 5 games as a nominees for the community vote. So all 5 games come to Lisbon as well. And the best one gets the awards and they win the prize for the community vote. Of course, we announce them in the random order so that we can keep the intrigue and the secrets up to the awards ceremony. And the developer's choice is the same, but only the voting form is different. Each of the teams who enter the competition get 4 votes to cast to the fellow game developers and teams entering the competition. So once again, you have that list of all 500 plus games, and you can give it to the games which you think deserve that. And of course, you can vote for your game as well. No one prohibits you that. You know what? People do vote for their games. That's no surprise, but it's allowed, so it's okay. You have those 4 votes, and you can only give 1 to you. So once again, as I mentioned, September 1st is the most important date here. This is the deadline of the competition, of the submission, I'm sorry. The most beautiful part is that the tool we use allows you to edit your submission. So we urge you to apply today, because you can edit your submission if you have, I don't know, a new video released by September 1st, or maybe your game moved to another development stage. This also happens, or even it can be released within the summer in August, for instance, so that you can edit your game submission up until September 1st. We know that developers submit in the last 3 nights before the deadline, or even in the last night or last minutes before the deadline. It's all right as well. But if you don't want to be nervous and you want to be less stressful when you submit your game, you can do this today and edit your submission afterwards. So remember, September 1st is the main deadline for the submissions. And then when we moved through those stages, we moved to the final one, which is the awards ceremony. This is how it was. This is just a picture, a small photograph from the last year. The ceremony will take place again at DevGAMM there, at DevGAMM conference. And we invite all the nominees here. We do celebrate the winners and the nominees as well. We have lots of surprises coming up. I actually responsible for running that show, and I like, these big ceremonies like the Oscars or the Game Awards, and we do have that tension and that production to do this kind of show. And most importantly, if you are not making it to Lisbon, we also live broadcast it to YouTube, exactly as we do right now, but with the bigger production, and we record it live and we publish it on YouTube, and we might as well live stream it on different platforms as well this year. We'll see. But it's such a great celebration for those indie and AA game development teams, and we love it so much because all of them come together, all of them celebrate each other and celebrate their games. This is like the final destination, basically, to all the games which enter the competition, and here they are celebrating each other. And of course, we do invite special guests, so you never know who will pop up at DevGAMM Awards. We will have something special this November as well. I cannot give you away too much at this point, but it's gonna be lovely. It's just a bit less than 5 months to the ceremony, but we're already starting this production, and this is the end of the competition. And this is actually the end of the presentation. I only have 2 words for you: apply. And today we're very excited to see the potential of the Indian market and actually see what you guys have there. Again, don't be shy. You never know how this submission will turn up for you. We're very excited to see what you guys have to offer, and our judges and the general public are very interested in seeing more and more new games, new bright ideas to be brought to the market. So once again, it's been a pleasure, guys, talking to you. I do hope you have some questions to me and Valeria. Valeria oversees all of the DevGAMM Awards competition and all of the game activities here at DevGAMM. Before we move to the final stage, which is, I guess, a Q&A session to both of us, I will just show you a clip from the last year's awards so that you can get a taste of how it actually looks like. So I have it published on YouTube, and I hope it will run smoothly. So let's take a look at the last year's DevGAMM Awards.
The best part of the event was the DevGAMM Awards.
537 games from 68 countries applied for the competition. And look at you here, 48 nominees from 24 countries are here. And let me tell you, the stakes are very high. The prize pool for this year is $100,000.
I love it. DevGAMM is one of my favourites. There's so many good games.
Amazing just to not see the quantity of games, but also the variety between so many different types of games and styles of games.
That was the hardest part of the judging,
So you need to always put on and off different hats when you evaluate these games and when you play these games.
I'm feeling very excited, very scared sometimes because of the responsibilities.
Personally, I feel very honored, especially to be able to try so many games from different parts of the world.
that the best game would win, I guess, and my favorite.
We're up against some very good competition in the grand prize category. No idea how it's going to turn out. Just very honored for our game to be nominated.
Now let's get back to business.
When we first started making this, we never anticipated that we'd be nominated for 1 award, let alone 3 awards. So
We've never been nominated for this many, so fingers crossed.
It's a great thing for us to get recognition like that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the end result is.
The DevGAMM grand prize goes to Manor Lords.
We're very proud and humbled to work with Greg and Salvit Magic on Manor Lords. It's a great game. It's been wildly successful since its launch, and we just enjoy seeing it get the recognition it deserves.
Congrats on the win, and say our huge thanks to the team for bringing great games to DevGAMM.
Hi.
So yeah, that's it. I hope you saw it. I think it was kind of meta to show a YouTube video in the YouTube video, but it's all right. So nothing more for me to say. Thank you so much for your attention, guys. And if you have any questions, please go ahead.
First of all, very much thank you, Mr. Anton, and for this wonderful presentation. And I prefer to keep that apply today's slide up because that looks people to motivate people to scan it right away. Great. And I think I'm getting some very good number of questions in my WhatsApp. And of course, there are some questions coming up to you and Valeria in my WhatsApp, of course, and there are some in live also. So I would, before I take up all the questions, I would personally felt to ask this question because this would help all the first time participants in DevGAMM. So what is the first and foremost advice do you give it for the first time participants in DevGAMM Awards?
Valeria, would you like
Yeah,
to
I
take
will
this one?
answer. Well, basically, I don't think we can give you any advices because the games are so different and the genres of those games are so different and the categories are so different as well that I don't think there's anything universal we can tell you. Like, basically, I don't know, make a good game and just feel free to join. If your game is good, it would be recognized.
That's actually the same that people, last year's winners, keep telling me when I was interviewing them. Like, do you have any advice? How did you win? Maybe you can share any tricks? And they all say like, no, just make a best game you can and enjoy your game as well.
Great. Thank you for that. And I will take the next question from one of our live chat. It is, how long should be the playable demo? That is a question coming up.
Okay, we also don't have strict playable demo requirements because it also depends on the genre. The linear games that have lots of plots can have shorter demos, like not to show off too much. But generally, we prefer it to be around 30 minutes. If you have plot-based or narrative games, it can be shorter.
Amazing. Thank you. And the next question is there any platform restrictions that we take only, we have to submit only on web games or mobile games or PC games? Is there any restrictions over that? Over to you.
We accept mobile and PC games, and also like the build of the game should be playable on PC. So if it's a browser game, we will accept it because it can be playable on PC or mobile. But we do not accept games that are playable on, like, for example, only Nintendo Switch, because we have external judges that don't have any extra devices. They only have their mobile phones and PCs. The judges are industry experts, so like these are people all over the industry, and yeah, the game should be playable on mobile and PC, and no specific platform requirements. It can be on itch.io, on browser, on Steam, anywhere, just a build in Google Drive.
Thank you for that. And do you support VR games in this? Can the
Yeah,
VR
regarding
games
the VR games, we support them only if they're playable without the headset. So, like, if your VR game has a non-VR mode and can be playable as a normal game, then yes. But unfortunately, we do not support only VR games for the very same reasons the judges do not have the headset.
Would be cool though to have like 50 VR sets all delivered to our judges so that can they enjoy these VR games. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not quite possible.
Thank you, Anton and Valeria. And the next question is, what kind of B2B meetings will be available, like for the people coming up?
During the conference or during the, because like, I don't know, Anton, do you want to answer this question if it's about DevGAMM in general?
Yeah, I mean, I guess people most importantly should learn that you are in charge of your agenda at the conference. So it's not something that we do for you. It's something that we create opportunities for at the conference. Again, we have this great app called Meet to Match, which is used by lots of conferences out there, like Gamescom, DevCon, they use it too. Like, you can scroll with a special ticket that you have to buy, you have to purchase. You have the access to the full list of attendees at the conference. You can browse them via their sector of the game industry, via the name of the company, via their position in the company, and you can find the necessary and relevant people to you who you'd like to meet, and then you send your requests to these people via the app, and you are assigned a special table, a special place at the venue, at the conference, to meet those people and to expand your networking. And that's one way to do this. Then, as I mentioned, Engage is another one. If you want to meet publishers and investors, if that's your necessity. And the third one, I'd say, is casual, non-planned conversations, which are the most beautiful ones because you never know who you're going to meet. And if you're active enough, you can meet some game industry legends out there at the conference because they come to DevGAMM and you're there as well. So if you are talkative and open-minded enough, you can come and just approach those people to have those meaningful connections. You could show your game to them and get some feedback, where you can just chat about the industry trends if you're interested in that. So networking is like one of the main pillars of the event, and we've got a lot of opportunities for you to maintain your networking base.
Thank you so much. And the next question will be, what genre can we submit? Is there a genre restriction? Is kind of a question. And is there a serious games can also be encouraged? That is the next follow-up.
Great question.
We don't have any specific genre restriction, but we do not submit, we do not accept mature games or games with high ratings, something like erotics or something like this. We don't accept them, and we generally don't accept any gambling projects. The rest, we have no requirements. Any genre, any gameplay.
Amazing. I think Mr. Anton has walked us through on the timelines. So can you please stress upon the timelines once again, if you don't mind? That was the question again.
Sure, I can show you the screen once again. But basically, the main timeline for the game developers who submit their games to the DevGAMM Awards is September 1st. So this is like the deadline and the final date to submit. Again, submissions are completely free of charge. You don't need to pay anything to us to submit. You don't need to go anywhere. You just need to have some dedicated time. Once again, please be mindful of what you submit. But then again, you can submit now, today, and you can edit your application up until September 1st, once you can log in your submission form. But it's pretty much self-explanatory all there. So this is the main deadline. And if you want to come to DevGAMM, and I just hope that you do, we also have an extended deadline to submit for the game showcase or for the Steam event, for instance, which is September 17. It's not on the slide, but it's just a couple more weeks to give you that time to make a decision that you'd like to come to DevGAMM and showcase your game. But of course, this one comes on the first shown, first served basis. So if you submit earlier, then you have more chances to be accepted to the game showcase or Steam event even. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing up that which is not there in the slide, and bringing up that information also. Thanks for that. And there is a next question, like again from a first-time participant. Can I submit a game now and update the videos and in-game screenshots later as the development progresses? Is that possible?
Yes, sure. You can submit it now, and you can edit your submission anytime. You will receive a link to edit it when submitting, so you can just log in and add anything you want.
That's great. Thank you so much once again. And the next question is, of course, this is a very crucial question to Valeria. And here you go. What are the most critical points judges look on each and award category?
Well, it's hard to say because we have experts from all fields, and they're usually more critical to their own field. So, for example, if game designer is judging your game, he will be more critical to the game design category, and he would looking at the game design of the game more professionally than if an artist expert is judging your game. But generally, I think it's all within the categories. So they look at everything that is in the name of the category. So if it's art, they look for art, and if your game is good looking, if it's audio, they're looking for audio. I don't think there's anything specific that they're looking for that is not like, they decide basically. It's
A
hard to
great
say.
game is all that needed.
That's true.
Thanks. And I will get the last question from the folks. And here we go. So the question is, if the game doesn't win, what is the support that DevGAMM give us? That's the question. And what is the future
Such a
support?
great question.
We usually still support the games. We announce them on social media. We retweet and repost them, especially when they are at launch or at their critical points. We always communicate with the devs and we accept them to further competitions. Except for awards, we also have many other game activities and they can be accepted there as well. We basically try to communicate with our community a lot, and if they ask us for something, we always see if we can provide that.
I just want to pay respect here to Valeria, because since she's in charge of all the game activities at DevGAMM and she has so many conversations with game developers, she's like in touch with all of them. I don't know how you do this, but she's in touch with all of you guys when you submit your applications and when you are joining the big DevGAMM community and DevGAMM family, I'd even say. Valeria, I won't say 24/7, but it's like she will reply to your letters, to your messages, whatever you are, because if you have any issues or if you have any ideas of how you can contribute to the DevGAMM or how you, I don't know, need any support, we're there for you. And I can also here add to I'd like to invite you maybe to subscribe to our social media and especially our Discord channel. It's a great community of game developers who are featured at DevGAMM in any way. And if not our team, then they can support you too with, bits of advice, or maybe they have any answers to your questions. So I really, really urge you to join our social media as well.
Yeah, also on our Discord, we have a collaboration list for developers. So if you're looking for partners for collaborations, you can join this list. It's open for everybody, and you can just find people to make bundles on Steam together or cross-post on Twitter or something like this. So basically, we're gathering a small database of our developers for them to share and find more partners.
Thank you so much. And definitely those who are watching, and of course, those who are future going to check out these videos, all the links which is told by Valeria and Anton, it will be provided in the description. Feel free to check out and please get ready with your games for the DevGAMM Awards. Thank you so much for watching, and special thanks to Anton and Valeria and the entire DevGAMM team, those who are not here. And thank you so much for walking us through in detail about the DevGAMM conference and awards. And this year, we believe that there'll be a wonderful set of games coming from India to DevGAMM. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, AJ, for putting it all together. And yes, guys, we do want to see what you have there. Please submit your games and we will see you at DevGAMM.
Thank you so much. Signing off.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.